Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are now on course number 3, and we will also have dessert from the menu of world-class cooking for solving global challenges. I'm going to give a quick set of highlights from courses 1 and 2. So in course 1, Leif and Unica, who are with us as the authors for World-Class Cooking for Solving Global Challenges and key global thinkers on knowledge innovation and intellectual capital, as well as artificial intelligence. They spoke about institutional failures and social failures as part of the shift from trade of good ideas to the trade of, to the trade, excuse me, for the trade, shifting from trade of goods to the trade of good ideas, and the importance of the role of technology and communication. Change also is important for innovating in society. So in course number 2, we covered a little bit of French innovation history and the challenges of France today and trying to make France great again in relationship to good French cuisine. So why cooking? Well, Leif and Unica said that because of President Macron's reforms as seen in societal innovation and French cuisine considered as the world's best, and having a long tradition in combining tastes with new trends. So now you see that France is the old restaurant with a new chef, and understanding the context for this cooking and the great goal of making France great again. The value of work as it relates to the ability to take advantage of disruptive innovations to guide transformation and reform, touching on the importance of prototyping for societal innovation and use of artificial intelligence for digestion was a little bit of the taste for today's message. We come now to course number 3, where the authors will expand on the influence of technology and provide a deeper understanding of its influence on societal innovation, as well as diving deeper into prototyping for societal innovation. So Unica, in chapter 3.3 of the book, you discuss the concept of smart cities, smart regions, smarter planet. Would you expand on these ideas from the book, as well as how the pandemic created a wise space for cooking?
Well, a smart city, smart region, and smart world was the topic of our innovation meeting in Monterrey in 2003. And Cisco, several years after, I don't remember exactly what time, Cisco launched a fashion trend for smart city, and then IBM joined. When I was in Washington 2010, I took the taxi with people from IBM who explained it to me the smarter idea of smarter planet. Then they invented this to position their offer in new context. But before we have already experimented such things in France. A smart city, a city of Partenay, set by Michel Hervé, who is also innovative manager, and the city of Issy-les-Moulineaux. We have no unemployment. This is technological city, and Lyon, and we have also we had European program on smart city and various awards now, and it is also about creating a synergy for cooking nice life, a condition, and involving citizen into the innovation process. And today it is emerging concept of green city with architect I like very much, which is Vincent Calbeau. He designed the plan for Olympic Games in Paris 2024 with many green spaces in Paris. Okay, then during the COVID lockdown, the restaurants were closed and work gone online, and we could observe the explosion of creativity, the alternative exploring of talents, and people began to do things differently to survive, and many new activities were born. Back to wise space, it's we discussed it about with Leif, and it is several points on this. For me, we can say that this is an ecosystem for creativity and well-being. Then in a restaurant, it's a nice and inspiring place with local product of good quality, healthy and tasty, a producer, imagination, chemistry, look and smell, with objective of providing of pleasure and well-being, multi-sense pleasure to clients, and pay producer right price. In general, it can be virtual place to make things differently for the benefits of those who need and participate.
Wonderful, thank you. So, Leif, during course number 2 of the menu, you gave a little taste of Sophia Antipolis, and also as a prototype for this thought process of smart cities and participation, as Unica said. However, we understand from the literature that there are many examples today of so-called prototypes. These experiments provide a platform for future thinking. Would you please expand on the concept of the Future Center and the Alliance?
Future Center and Future Center Alliance is a kind of a collective intelligence, and it started with that I set up in Sweden in 1996 the first prototype of a Future Center, which is, as a conceptual setup, an impossibility, because the Future Center is a moving target, and the organization is by definition a fixed spot. So therefore you have a conflict between the organizational design and the moving capability. MindLab, which you almost touched upon, is another one which came as a kind of follow-up from our start in Skandia, Sweden, which was set up by the Ministry of Employment, Ministry of Taxation, and Ministry of Interior Work in Denmark. And it was extremely successful in public innovation because they could measure and work on this and made a report on it after some years. And it showed that by having this tool as a MindLab or Future Center, they could increase the speed of innovation in the city of Copenhagen, as well as the administration of Denmark. And the other part that was outcome was the innovative height of rule making in Denmark. And I think these are two remarkable measures of how you can see the benefit and the value of it. And now it's called MindLab. Sorry, it's called what's it? They have a Blocks Hub. Blocks Hub. It has moved on and become a Blocks Hub in Copenhagen. Extremely interesting as a setup. But you also have other ones. Japan has roughly around 50 future centers gathered in the Future Center Alliance Japan. And you have also within UNESCO around 50 literacy labs, which is a very interesting concept developed in UNESCO, how to learn to read the future.
Those prototypes are extremely interesting to me. I just hope that the audience takes time to do some research on those different centers that you spoke about. Unica, there seems to be a lot of cooking going on, as Leif had just mentioned, with all these different centers. So with the flurry of cooking comes the need to be mindful of the planet and sustainability, or as you mentioned, corporate responsibility. Please give us some thoughts on this topic.
And in one of my previous books, The Innovation Biosphere, I talk about finding alternative, smartest and greenest solution to minimize the impact on planet. Yes, corporate social responsibility considers balance of environmental, social, and economic aspect of the company activities. But most focus on communication, but there are few action with real impact. The possibility of technology, for example, is not fully explored, especially in eco-design and in product life cycles. And for example, if we consider 17 goals of United Nations, one of them is food for all. Today, food is wasted for several reasons. Years ago, at the end of Marché in Paris, in the other cities, the damaged or ugly fruits and vegetables were left for poor people with imagination. Today, there are some associations collecting food to distribute to the needed. But this is also for doing good for the people.
Kind of like a mix of ratatouille, yes?
Pizza.
Or pizza. So Leif, as we circle back to the idea of cooking and measuring ingredients, you discuss the need for results to be visually appealing and the ingredients need to be of good quality. So please bring the reader to the world of measuring intellectual capital and how it is appealing and how do you know it's of good quality?
Well, let's start with the word measure. If you spell it slightly differently, so you put a hyphen in between me and assure, you are coming closer to what it is really about. Me assure is to give you confidence that you are navigating on the right track with the right speed. And most of the metrics is actually ex post, which means that you're trying to create some kind of navigation based on where you have been rather than where you are heading. So that's why the smart city, like Janika was mentioning, is about finding the me assuring navigation of the city of tomorrow rather than yesterday. And that's the navigational dimension. To me assure that you are on the right track with the right speed. And the quality is emerging as an impact. And impact is not an output, it's not an outcome. It's actually slightly different. It's the impact like a footstep in the sand on a beach. And you measure the depth of that step and visualize it. So therefore, the impact measurement has to be developed. And most of the economic statistics is about transaction of yesterday and trying to describe it as tomorrow. And Hans Rosling was extremely successful in developing such metrics and now regarded as a gapminder approach of world-class cooking of statistics for describing the impact on health through various types of ingredients.
Very interesting. So Janika, would you like to add anything to the metrics conversation?
In fact, as I said previously, the experienced chef does not measure. He or she use the imagination, inspiration, and compose the meals with what he considers good for the clients. But in the real life, we measure things, and sometimes it's difficult. And for example, Deborah Amidon elaborated 10 modules for measuring the progress in innovation, the innovative capacity of the company, of the cities and regions and countries. And I added environment to this. And we have to measure tangible and intangible benefits. And most of actors focus on the KPI. They measure performance. While we need to switch to KSI, it means key success indicators. even if on the screen you have KFI, which is key future indicators. And in today's society, it's rather race for power and money. The talent are not fully explored, even managed, what is a source of frustration for many talented people. When your talent is fully explored and recognized, you are motivated to give the best. And back to my work on the impact, I elaborated 8 impacts, but maybe we'll talk later about that.
Okay, thank you. So Unica, you also talked about the importance of artificial intelligence as it relates to safety, such as human relations, esteem, and self-actualization. How will you know that the actualization is right?
Yes, today many people talk about AI and afraid of AI impact. But again, we need to evaluate the impact. Then there is some movement, AI for good, and we had Oxford debate on AI for regulation. We talk about AI governance, and but in the real life, we cannot prevent. It's difficult to prevent the bad usages of technology. For example, today they are the drones who are micro drones with explosive and face recognition, and they are used to kill targeted people. Then we have the military application and killer robots and so on. But it's not easy to control them. It's rather maybe better to influence the behavior of people than fight against that. And of course, we can try to use the games and the other things to influence the behaviors. But AI is not bad. The people are bad. The database are not racist. The people are. Then, for example, the people said, okay, AI is racist. It's not true. But the people influence database and put things into database to influence the results. That's why I work on combination of knowledge with artificial neural networks to get the good results.
Great. So as we talk about good results in artificial intelligence, we're now moving from the main menu selection into the dessert area, as you could tell. And from our previous recipes or experiences, we can see the foundation for a sustainable society. However, can we really imagine a future society from all of this cooking, right? So cooking a new society in today's context is difficult with many factors or ingredients. However, as Unica said, AI can help, artificial intelligence. So both of you, Leif, if you want to go first, one of the examples that you provide is the application of artificial intelligence in agriculture, air and water, and the importance of combining ancestral knowledge and the latest technology. So Leif and Unica, I would like to hear both of your perspectives on this. Leif?
Well, I think the starting point might be that you realize that technology can help us to navigate. So we need to find the navigational dimension in this, and we will be back to that later on. But a very, very deep dimension is the meaning making. The meaning making of cooking. And why do we cook the food? Because it might be easier to pick up the vitamins and the ingredients of the food. And if we heat the food, it smells better. And that is technology, it's physics and it's chemistry. So we need to learn to combine different disciplines, and then we can add to that the artistic dimension of cooking as well. And I'm very fond of sweets. So this is my favorite. When my daughter was being treated in hospital in Paris many years ago, I was so impressed. She got a 3-meal course as a little girl in the age of 5. And she, as well as I, appreciated very much the French dessert that they served to her. And it proves the point. She became very happy and she get out of the hospitals very well.
Great.
Usually in hospitals, the meal are awful.
You have to go to the right one.
Okay. I prefer not to go.
Educa, do you want to expound on your ideas of combining ancestral knowledge with the latest technology?
Yes, it is. For example, when we consider agriculture is the base for restaurants, today we have intensive agriculture and they use, because the system explore agriculture and agriculture are not paid right price. Then instead of having intermediates, we rather need to focus on smaller exploitation and use technology for that, because technology helps. Technology provide the information about forecast, about rains, about condition, and we have to also think about ancestral knowledge, because before technology, the people knew when they have to plant, what is influence of various things such as moon for a plant, what is the crop rotation and association of plants to don't use the pesticide and provide natural fertilizers.
Wonderful, thank you. So Educa, based on that, how do you cook a sustainable future society?
Science research from Berkeley on the importance of DMN. And DMN stands for default mode network. And this is a part of your brain and the neuroscience insights that combines the fascination of tomorrow with some kind of evaluation. So when you see a plate with interesting ingredients, it's not until you have tasted it that you can evaluate it. And this is the function of DMN.
And today robot can do it also.
Educa, go ahead.
Today robot can do it also because they have sensors and artificial vision, and robot can say it will be good for you or not.
Educa, why then is education so such an important part of the recipe in looking into the future, and what do we need to be happy?
It is important because it's the base of society, and the way you educate the society, you will have the society after. And what is important to learn from parents, from in school, to learn the respect, to learn how to learn, and learn how to listen, because today many people are as loudspeakers. Many people emit things and nobody is listening. Then
this one.
Then we have to take time to listen to the other and create together.
Yeah.
And when I visited the school in Finland several years ago with the Ministry of Education, French Ministry of Education, they had already this kind of collaborative creation in a small school. What more? What is important to learn is also how to be happy with few.
Mm,
Because maybe we will enter to critical times. Planet is in bad condition. Maybe we have to be ready to be happy with few.
I agree. That's it. That's a great, great way to talk about the education and learning and how we could be happy, right? So I remember when I was in Iraq in 2005 and 4, I left a nice home in Colorado to be over there, and I had a very small room with sandbags covering the window, and I had a bed and a locker and a desk and a little shelf, and that's all you need. That's all I needed, right? The happiness came from the interaction with the people. So yeah, I like that. So Leif, lastly here, the power of respect and responsibility is critical. Can you explain to the viewers the need for a balance between technological development, use of raw materials for its production, and better decision making?
A very good question. I like it, and it relates to the navigation as well. You can look at the stars for navigation, and that was used as a technology development to have a star metrics system. But today we have GPS, and the GPS is high tech actually in today's world. And then you can move from there also to see that the accounting system that we have as a basis for our statistics to describe society is going back to 1494, and it hasn't developed very much since then. So we're actually navigating societies based on economics from 1494 instead of having GPS system to describe the value creation of society. We could, as Unica is referring to, have a lot of interesting KSI and KFIs to describe the development, and that will also improve the happiness. So therefore, we have started a project with Future Center in Utrecht, Holland, a project on positive cartography, because we discovered in that Future Center that the youngsters were despairing. They didn't have trust in the future, and which is remarkable with all the technology development for health and food as well as environment. So as Unique also referred to, we need to use the technology in a positive, clever, and intelligent way. And I also would like to add to that when the second big global meeting on environment took place, not in Copenhagen, that was the first one. The second one was in Paris. And before they went to conclusion at that meeting, after 2 weeks of debating and writing, they decided to use the sociological skill and applying that to the meeting design. And the meeting then concluded that they should have a French lunch before ending the meeting. And the meeting ended successfully.
Wonderful. I love the idea. So as soon as I can fly again overseas, I'm coming, Unica, and we'll all meet in your favorite city for lunch.
Yes,
Montpellier,
I will join you.
So with the conclusion of our cooking class and then our final dessert, please don't forget that there is much more inside this wonderful cookbook, but you will have to buy it to find the cuisine that is right for you. You can order the book, World Class Cooking for Solving Global Challenges, from Emerald Publishing. Until next time, as Leif reminded me, this is just the beginning, not the end. We conclude our dinner. Yes, we conclude our dinner with bon
Bon appétit.
appetit.